Hello viewers, good evening. I'm Ron Grant coming to you out of Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. I am joined today by Mr. Trevor Bridgewater, who is the District Rotract representative. He hails from Virgin Gorda. Today we break down all things Rotract and all the awesome accomplishments that have led to him getting to this point. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 Media.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today. The win.
What the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the...
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. As promised, I'm joined by Mr. Trevor Bridgewater. Mr. Bridgewater, thank you so much for your time this evening and welcome to 284 Media.
Thank you and good evening. Thank you for having me, Ron.
Now, you are the District Rotract representative. Of course, you hail from the beautiful island of Virgin Gorda. Before we get into the conversation, can you tell us a little bit about what that role is about?
Okay, so the District Rotract representative role is basically the figurehead of the Rotract District. So in Rotary, there are numerous districts all around the world. So District 7020 or District 7020 is just one of the many districts that we have. And basically, the figure or the role that I take on, basically you're the figurehead of basically 56 clubs that we have in our district.
Wow.
So it's actually a process where you sit in that role for a year. So you play the role in terms of being that advocate for those 56 clubs, even though they might have their own, local administration, so to speak.
Understood. Now, of course, you mentioned the 7020. Tell us about the areas that district covers.
Okay, so basically 7020 is made up of 10 territories. So it spans from the BVI, USVI, if you're starting from down below here, and as far as Bahamas. So there is Anguilla, BVI, USVI, Saint Martin. There's also Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica, and yeah, pretty much that's
Wonderful.
it.
Now, you mentioned that this process has started about a year ago, and it's somewhat of a 2-year process. What was that process like for you in training and getting to this point?
Okay, so the 2-year process, why I label it as such, is because you have basically 1 year to plan and another year to execute. Now, all things created equal, usually that process starts with clubs across the district having that opportunity to elect or nominate a person who may fit a certain criteria. And we would have that outlined and have that to clubs to ensure that they understand who would fit or what candidate they would choose to fit in that role. So when that happens, we are usually invited to an interview before, top Rotary officers, such as the district governor-elect, the sitting DRR at the time, as well as the DRR-elect and the nominee. So when, once we have the interview process, we are normally shortlisted, and then, the best person or the best recommended fit would be announced to the district to have a challenge, so to speak. So the clubs would have that opportunity to challenge the selection or recommendation before the final call has been made.
Awesome, and you have no doubt rose to the occasion and the challenge, and you are the District Rotract representative. First of all, congratulations. I must
Thank you
tell
very
that. It sounds like a tall order, but before we get into what your year is going to look like, some of the projects that you have in mind, I'd like for you, Mr. Bridgewater, to explain to the general public the difference between Rotract and Rotary. I know the general public has a way of just bulking us all together, and
Right.
that's fine, but for the interest of information, can you share some of the differences and similarities of both organizations?
Okay, no problem at all, Ron. So basically, Rotract and Rotary, although Rotary is the overarching organization. The organization is broken down age specific. Now, and I'll explain, that there has been some change to that as well, but for the most part, Rotract is just simply, a group of young professionals, young community-minded individuals who seek to better themselves, whether professionally and also to serve their local community in that capacity. So one of the changes that we have done or embarked through Rotary International, through their body of officials, what they have made a change just last year in 2020, July 1st, they allowed for Rotract to basically relinquish the upper age limit. So at first, you served in Rotract from ages 18 to 30. Now, with everything that they have done since last year, they have removed the upper age limit. So it's no longer able for you to leave if you don't want to leave at age 30.
Understood.
Some clubs, they have employed in their own bylaws and constitution to allow for members to stay in that club until age 35. So, some clubs, they would make the right age for their climate to ensure that they either keep their members up until a certain age so that, so you're not forced, so to speak, anymore. So, that's basically the difference between Rotract and Rotary. And I mean, we still serve the community. We still have the same principles, the same guidance, and all those different things that make up an organization. We still uphold, similar vision and mission statements.
Remarkable. Well, that seems, again, like a tall order, but I love the fact that the organization really solidifies the driving force of young professionals all across the territory, and by extension, as the district Rotract representative, you would agree that there are young professionals all across the region. For you, what is the best part of being a part of this organization?
Well, apart from serving my community, because, people who know me, understand, and they know that I'm very community-minded. However, apart from, I could have joined any other organization or even created my own, but what actually brought me into Rotract and what allowed me to stay into Rotract was the fact that, the networking opportunities, the fellowship, having to go to many different conferences across my tenure. I've been in Rotract for 6 years now, and I've attended pretty much 4 conferences.
Okay.
And every year it's something different, even though you're meeting pretty much some persons that you have met in the past, but you're also meeting persons that you never met in the first place. So every year is always a different kind of vibe, so to speak, a different opportunity to meet someone who's community-minded just like yourself, and just have networking opportunities, persons, again, you're trying to develop yourself professionally. And, Rotract allows for that to happen. So, you're in a different zone or a different area within the district. And because you have that connection, you're able to now plan activities together, whether it's through individual to individual correspondence or club to club correspondence, because that's another avenue in which we, as Rotaractors and the world of Rotary, that's how we, affect change, not across just the local community, but also in the international community as well. So we use those avenues, use the skills that we have, the similarities, the differences, and just the overall uniqueness, just to ensure that we put measures in place, initiatives in place to just make our communities better. And the region as a whole.
Wonderful. Now, you are the third district Rotract representative for the territory of the Virgin Islands, but the first from Virgin Gorda. Talk to me a little bit about some of the projects that you've done so far under your leadership, and what's next.
Okay, so everybody knows basically what has happened with the global pandemic for over a year now. So a lot of the plans that we had in place to administer as a district kind of had to be either revamped or just curtailed in a different way. Now, all things created equal, I would have been on a plane pretty much throughout that whole year and just visiting clubs and just seeing the initiatives that they've been doing and continue to do to better their communities. However, I had to, be grounded here in the Virgin Islands. However, I was still engaged in terms of the projects that some of these clubs have been doing. They have taken a platform of Zoom, where they meet, and also just, because some regions had the advantage of being under lockdown or not in lockdown, but actually had to do other initiatives in a different way. So we, in terms of many of the projects around the 7 areas of focus that we serve under Rotary, and some of these include like supporting the environment, basic education and literacy, and really and truly all those projects fell under those things. Specific to whom, some of the things that we have done is obviously, help supporting the environment through collaborating with other organizations in doing mangrove planting, for instance. That's something that I was engaged in, and I loved it so much. And another thing that I was also engaged in was the fact that, just cleanups and just being present whenever the opportunity arose to better serve our community. So, cleanups, book drives. We also, fixed up or some of our little libraries that we have on Virgin Gorda.
Wonderful.
Those we continue to push the envelope to have our young persons be better literate and being able to have opportunities to have reading material and so on and so forth. So we have been doing that as well. We also
Remarkable.
engaged with my home club as well in Virgin Gorda. We did erect a sign on the St. Thomas Bay Jetty dock, which we, just to ensure to have our organization just visible when you come in and go out. So the sign was about, showing them the Rotary Way, which was the 4-way test, which is the guiding principle by which we follow.
Of course.
And, we have, we did so in an English format as well as Spanish, because we understand that, many different persons and nationalities and languages come through that port. So just, just simple things. And there were obviously others,
Of course.
So,
I have to go back. I have to ask you, as you mentioned just a little bit about the 7 guiding principles. Can you tell us what those are?
Okay, so basically the 7 areas of focus, it's basically the surrounding themes by which many Rotary clubs, Rotract clubs, and just, affiliated organizations plan their initiatives around. So for example, in September there is basic education and literacy. You might want to do a project about maybe a book drive or donating a dictionary or, constructing like what we did on Virgin Gorda, which was the little library. So you do things around those themes. So another theme that we also have is disease prevention and treatment, which, for example, if you want to do an initiative, that is usually done in December of every year. So we would want to probably do a project or initiative around that. And, so maybe we might want to advocate, in terms of a particular disease, for example, with COVID-19, prime example. So we might want to donate hand sanitizers to a local school or church or just within the community. So, it just helps us to ease in terms of what we want or plan to do for our community throughout the year. So we use that as an opportunity to help us, gauge what projects we might want to do.
Understood. What's next for you as District Rotract Representative?
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, Ron, my term comes to an end June 30th.
Okay.
And I would say that I will be staying on into the upcoming year as the advisor for the incoming District Rotract representative. So not to say that your year is finished and you just sit down, but you also serve as an advisor on their team to ensure that they continue the momentum that has been started before them. And so it's a consecutive, and we are very good in terms of the organization, in terms of succession planning and moving forward the agendas into successive years. So I will be staying on, and what I plan to do also is to transition into Rotary. I'll still be a part of Rotract because we also are allowed to be both members of both arms. So
understood.
I'll still be a Rotaractor. However, I'll still, start my way into transitioning into Rotary. So that is my plans for the next year.
Wonderful. I want you to leave, Trevor, with just some encouragement to young professionals like yourself across the territory and by extension the region who are called to serve their community in different capacities, but for more reasons than one, don't rise to the occasion. They might be a bit apprehensive or nervous about the tall order that is before them, but having served your community and you continue to serve your communities, what encouragement would you give to fellow young professionals like yourself?
Well, Ron, I would always like to say just do it. You wouldn't know unless you try. Like, for instance, for me, I never thought in my 6-year tenure, even before then, I would have never thought that I would have rose to such an honor role. I've learned so much and I have gained so much of knowledge and, just a whole different, I've learned so much strength, being strong and just carrying out the agenda, although things might not be going well. Yeah. So you as an individual, me as an individual, I've grown in ways that I can't even measure. Just being in front of this camera, you gain so much confidence in yourself that, you don't think you would be able to gain if you didn't take the opportunity. So I would say and encourage anybody, whoever is within our organization, even outside the organization, that you would want to just take the opportunity that has been given to you because you don't know for sure if you're going to get it back.
Well, Trevor, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out and coming and breaking it all down for us. The outgoing District Rotract representative, of course, that role comes to an end pretty soon, but you have done a remarkable job. And I want to congratulate you and wish you the very best as you continue.
All right. Thank you very much for having me, Ron.
You're most welcome. Viewers, that's all the time we have, but that is not all the content. Of course, stay locked to our page for more content and, of course, our different shows and articles at tweet4media.com. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.